Okay, it's late, and we're going to talk Raw. This is your video for Tuesday. I have spent pretty much my entire weekend trying to dissect John Murdy's cryptic clues and the code words for Malcolm and Team Spirit. So, I was not able to do SmackDown. I do have notes for SmackDown right behind me, actually, and that will actually go on tomorrow's video with NXT. So, once I get off work, I'm going to watch NXT, and then I'm going to put them together. Because today, as soon as I get off work, AJ and myself are going to go watch Full Metal Jacket. So, that'll be fun. Well, let's talk about the show, shall we? Triple H comes out to start the show off. He says, when it's all said and done, all of this is your fault. Basically blaming the WWE Universe for what happened last Monday night with the Occupy Raw. And everything that went down to Daniel Bryan potentially being inserted into the main event at WrestleMania 30. He says, I'm going to crush your dreams and end the Yes Movement, and even end Daniel Bryan. Until WrestleMania, I have some things to say to Bryan a little bit later tonight, but I want to do it in the ring, man-to-man. Batista comes out. Says, you have big problems with Daniel Bryan, but you have much bigger problems when it comes to me. Who do you think you are putting him in my match at WrestleMania? I earned the right to be champion. I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with the triple threat. And Triple H calls his bluff and says, do you really think he has a chance to beat me? I mean, come on. Randy Orton comes out. Of course, he seems to be the afterthought, even though he is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. See, Orton agrees with Big Dave. What were you thinking? Now, Triple H calls his bluff and says, you know what, do you really think there's a possibility, even a slim chance that Daniel Bryan will beat me? I can assure you, and I'll speak slowly so you can understand me, that's not going to happen. Has Bryan got in your head? And response, not as much as he's gotten in yours. That's Batista's answer back. So Orton wants to do what Batista couldn't do and defeat Daniel Bryan, wants to teach him a lesson, so he wants him no disqualification later tonight. Triple H's like, that's a great idea, we're going to make that match. So, the people cheer for Daniel Bryan, Dave, because they don't believe in you. If you lived up to any of your hype, you might be a little better off. Batista thinks Orton sucks as champion. Calls him a paper champion. Where have I heard that before? You'll never be me. Triple H gets shoved away when he tries to get in the middle of the former Evolution battling. He goes to leave. Batista says, you're going to fix this. Triple H gets mad, gets on the mic and says, I'm sick of trolls like Daniel Bryan. I'm sick of Hollywood stars telling me what's best for business. And I'm sick of gifted guys so screwed up in the head that they can't win without me holding their hand. The only one you can trust in life is yourself. We will have a triple threat match. Regardless. But it's not going to be Daniel Bryan. It's going to be me. So Triple H leaves. Batista is distracted. When Batista turns around, bang, RKO. So, we come back to commercial break. Batista is getting ready to leave the building. He says, coming back here was a big mistake. I'm out of here. So, that was the opening segment. I like this. Collusion between the former members of Evolution, and this makes me think that Ric Flair will have to be the voice of reason to try to get everybody back on the same page for WrestleMania. And the common goal to take down the machine that is Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement. That's what I think will happen. I think Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton will all be on the same page because of Ric Flair, and I think that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks on Raw. I don't think it happens next week on Raw, but I think it happens the week after. I think Triple H basically has a cloud of judgment right now, and Batista and Orton want to rip each other's heads off, so here comes Ric Flair as the voice of reason to try to get his boys back together again, and that's what I think is going to happen. So they all have the common goal to destroy Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. So everyone's going to be a roadblock. Well, we get a nice promo for WWE Slam City, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I implore you to. It's actually really entertaining. It's WWESlamCity.com, and you actually can check it out on YouTube as well. I don't recall the address on YouTube off the top of my head, but I do know that basically Slam City is what happens when the WWE roster are fired by a masked guy called the Finisher, and WWE superstars have to get day jobs. And, like, John Cena's a mechanic, and Kane is a cafeteria cook, and Alberto Del Rio is a barista. I think it would have been funnier to Batista the barista. It would have been hilarious. And it's really interesting. Like, Randy Orton's a zookeeper, living the Kevin Steen dream. And there's a lot of really interesting things on this. It's really funny, and just check it out. Nobody uses their own voices, but it's really entertaining. And a lot of things are up there right now. You can check out 4 episodes of Slam City right now at WWESlamCity.com. Really entertaining stuff, really funny stuff. The stuff with Del Rio and Damian Sandow is really funny. The stuff with John Cena as a mechanic's really funny. And I haven't watched the Cafeteria Chaos yet, or the end of Big Brawl. Big Brawl ended up bringing out the Big Show, but I wasn't able to check that out yet. So yeah, check that out if you get a chance. You have some time. It's worth watching. Got our first match of the evening. It is the Real Americans, Cesaro and Jack Swagger with Zeb Coulter in their corner, taking on the WWE Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jey Uso. Of course, I said when this match immediately came down that the Real Americans have to win in order to get into contention, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So we come back from commercial break, and there's a Swiss sleeper applied, tagging to Swagger, and Uso fights his way out of the corner, gets caught going for a tag. Swagger turns into a takedown, makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. So goes for the Swagger bomb, tags Cesaro, leapfrog double stomp 1-2 and a kick out, Swiss uppercut on Jimmy Uso, tagging to Swagger, and the double whip, and they both duck down for the back body drop. Swagger gets kicked, and he backdrops Cesaro over the top rope to the floor. So he grabs the foot of the Uso, does Swagger, and he gets caught with an enziguri kick and double tag. So both new freshmen are in, which is Cesaro and Jey Uso. So leaping clothesline, Savate kick to the ribs, uppercut whip in reverse, and nails the shoulder block off the ropes to Cesaro. Running bump up in the corner, 1-2 and a kick out. The double leg on Jey Uso, and he goes for the Cesaro swing. Gets caught with a Savate kick, and they toss Swagger over the top to the floor. They toss Cesaro up into the Samoan drop. Jey covers 1-2 and a kick out. He goes up top, and preferably for the Samoan splash to finish off the Real Americans, Swagger drags his partner to the floor, ducks the clothesline, double super kick, and the SSD on Swagger on one side, and the opposite side, SSD is connected with the Swiss uppercut. Cesaro gets in the ring, hits the Gotch-style neutralizer, and they get the 3. So it was really interesting that they actually were on the same page in this match, and we're talking about breaking up some tandems right now, mainly the Real Americans and the Shield, and they both were on the same page tonight, at least for the present time. So there will probably not be a match between the two at WrestleMania. It sounds to me that they are getting put into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I really think that Cesaro is going to win the thing. I think Cesaro swings the Big Show in a huge WrestleMania moment, and Big Show is so out of it and discombobulated that Cesaro just is able to dump him over the top rope to the floor, and that's how we make Cesaro win the Battle Royal, and that's what I think is going to end up happening. So, Kane, yeah, this is interesting. I'm talking about SmackDown. Oh, by the way, I'll give you a little update on SmackDown. Like I said, it's going to be on the NXT video posted tomorrow. So, Kane is talking to the Shield after what happened on SmackDown, something I haven't even talked about yet. Kane says, things got out of hand on Friday, and I need a unified Shield by my side. And if you cannot be counted on, you become a liability. So can I count on you guys? So Rollins says, yeah, you can. We're united. Basically says they're replaceable. I wonder where this is heading. It sounds to me like the Shield going babyface. Well, officially going babyface. They've basically been faces since the program with the Wyatt family started, but I think they're officially baby faces now. So instead of doing the burn where they have Roman Reigns get pushed to the stars and Seth Rollins is the mid-card babyface and Ambrose is the heel, the only one that comes out of the group, I think it sounds like they're going to keep the Shield together and they're going to make them faces. So they're going to be doing heelish things to heels. Interesting. Which is what they do later on in the show, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So to our next match. This is actually something I called a long time ago. When they did the split between the primetime players, when I said that if they want to do something with Titus O'Neil, number one, they give him a mouthpiece. And I said he could be with Heyman, which that's never going to happen now. But one other thing I said is have him feud with Sheamus. Well, it's not a feud, but they get me a match. So, yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess. Titus comes out in a green hat and a fake orange beard, presenting the fact that it is St. Paddy's Day. And this match is, well, it was what you would expect it to be. Before this match, actually, I want to mention something I forgot to mention. Hornswoggle comes out. You know, he's one of my least favorite people on the face of the planet. He's giving gifts to the ringside fans. He grew his hair out and everything. So, of course, the immediate thing I'm thinking is this is going to bring out Wade Barrett. What happens? This brings out Wade Barrett. And Wade Barrett comes out with the interruption. He's like, look at that. It's a real-life leprechaun right before our eyes in our building celebrating St. Paddy's Day. And he talks about St. Patrick chasing the snakes out. And he says that most people drink, not Sir Owen Disney, I don't drink. Most people drink and then they have hangovers and then they pretty much will live their life in total regret. And that's pretty much it. Might I say how much Wade Barrett is awesome. Well, it is official that Christian is now entered into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And he's on commentary for this match. Shock, surprise. And Sheamus ends up taking the fallaway slam. So much momentum knocks him to the floor. So Titus grabs Hornswoggle and becomes my favorite person on planet Earth when he tosses him into the ring. So he slaps him around a little bit. It's kind of awkward. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of weird. He picks him up for the fallaway slam. You know the fallaway slam he does without the back bump. And he does the fallaway slam. Sheamus is behind him. Sheamus catches his little buddy and basically launches him headfirst into the ribs of Titus. Hits the clubbing blows on the apron, over-the-shoulder power slam, completely faking me out because I thought he was going to go for either the Finley roll or the white noise. And he brogue kicks him out of his boots, 1, 2, 3. After the match is over, Sheamus officially enters the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which means that Sheamus and Christian will face off at WrestleMania, but they will not be facing off in a traditional one-on-one match or a gimmick match against each other. Oh no, it's going to be as a part of the 30-man over-the-top rope Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So, for people that were saying that it wouldn't go to WrestleMania, they're right, but they're wrong. Because it's continuing to WrestleMania, but they're not facing off in an actual match. So, Christian knocks Sheamus off the apron when he's celebrating, and he tosses Sheamus into the steps. He nails the kill switch on the floor. Remember how I said that Christian needed to get his heat back? Repeatedly attacking Sheamus after Sheamus beats his brains in is not getting his heat back. It is, but it's not. Christian has to pin, no matter how cheaply it is, hook the tights, feet on the ropes. It works for his gimmick completely. I would say right now he needs to beat Sheamus at least once going into this, so people think that he may have any sort of a chance. Or, if you're not going to do that, have Christian eliminate Sheamus from the Battle Royal. We could do that. And then somehow Sheamus causes Christian to get eliminated by someone else, so we continue that program, or just let it die before WrestleMania. Who knows? It's anyone's guess. Yet another guest host promoting another movie coming out this week. Next week, there will be a film coming out called Sabotage. Sabotage is a film by Open Road, which my theater company, Regal Entertainment Group, actually owns. So that means we're actually going to get a showing for that movie late because since Open Road, they need to make money. So, Manganiello from Magic Mike, as well as the Governata, Arnold Schwarzenegger, will be not guest hosting, but they're going to be on Raw promoting Sabotage. So it was really interesting during that promo. Basically, Joe Manganiello said something about, we're going to kick some butt, and Arnold started chanting yes. He was doing the Daniel Bryan yes. That was pretty over with me. And of course, next week we're also going to have the Mystery Machine will be there promoting the Scooby-Doo WrestleMania movie that I actually watched. It's not bad. It's pretty good. And that's going to be next week. John Cena comes out next, of course, to his usual chorus of boos. And he says, there's a lot of energy in this building. A lot of energy in this building is John Cena language for, my God, I'm getting heel heat tonight. And I've had over 3,500 matches in 12 years. Sometimes we get along, sometimes not so much. I've always given my best regardless. I've always been honest with you. And I'll be honest again. I'm afraid of Bray Wyatt. I'm afraid that you're listening to what he has to say. See, Bray is different from any other superstar that's ever faced me before. Bray wants to be the destroyer of my legacy. And I can feel it happening. He wants to convince you that I'm a lie. That John Cena is filled with evil. Yeah, that heel turn, it's never going to happen at this rate. To hell with that. I believe in everything I've ever done. I stand for and ever will do. WrestleMania is about fighting for each and every one that's ever believed a word I've ever said. I will fight for everything. I will fight for my legacy. We get a very familiar interruption. Bray Wyatt comes on the Tron. Children believe in superheroes. They wear masks and capes because they want to believe that the world is good. Let me fill you in on my childhood. It wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. I have your scars too. The world gave them to me. They gave them to me because it was my birthright to have them. They taught me a few things. They taught me that everything I love is going to wither away and die. I could be just like you. I could sign autographs, kiss babies, make sure everyone buys all my merchandise. I could go home to my plastic girlfriend in my castle, hold back everything I feel inside and tell jokes. Yeah, that's you, man. But you were right about one thing. I am different than anyone you've ever faced. After WrestleMania, I don't care if I ever leave. I don't care if I die, as long as the world sees you as I do. Follow the buzzards. And this whole time, this whole promo, Bray Wyatt is wearing a cut-off John Cena t-shirt when he's doing this. This is the stuff that gold is made from. This Bray Wyatt John Cena match at WrestleMania is going to be, I'm going to go old school in this. It's going to be off the hook. It's going to be amazing. The promos that Bray Wyatt has been cutting have just been pure gold. You might as well just like take them and just to a bank because they're pure gold and you just cash them in for an unbelievable amount of money because that's all they're doing is making money. Bray Wyatt is money. Bray Wyatt is somebody that the WWE is going to be able to utilize for a long, long time. And like I said, I wouldn't have said that Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker needs to happen at WrestleMania 32 if I didn't truly believe it. And I believe it's the right direction, I think it's the right thing to do, and I think it's going to happen. So, we talked about a no disqualification match between the MVP of the WWE, Daniel Bryan, and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the Viper, Randy Orton. So that's up next. So, Orton's got a Singapore cane, and he nails Bryan in the back. He does the backdrop on the barricade, rolls him in, 1-2, and a kick out. Now, before this happens, before we get a commercial break, this is awesome, by the way, Bryan is trying to drag Orton. Orton drags a Singapore cane from under the ring, and he canes Bryan with it. And then there's a mark in the front row, off camera, that yells something to the gist of, call for the bell. Randy Orton stops in the middle of the beating, looks at the fan and yells, call for the bell, call for the bell. This is a no disqualification match, you idiot. I'm paraphrasing, of course. So, he canes Bryan. He does his backdrop on the announce table. He points the cane at the fan and says, "You, this is all because of you." I'm not a big fan of Randy Orton, but I thought that was genius, by the way. So like I said, we'll talk about the match, and after the 2 count, he crotches him on the ring post, and he presses, basically crotches him. He picks him up in an atomic drop, and he slams him crotch first in the ring post, and then he presses his body against it. And he catches him with a 3.0 backbreaker off the post, tosses him in 1-2 and a kick out, makes another cover, hooks the leg this time 1-2 and a kick out, so he does the mounted punches and the Garvin stomp, and he boots Bryan in the corner when he gets up. Whip in, backflip, lands on his feet, ducks Orton's clothesline, comes off the ropes with a hooking clothesline. And then he nails a running drop kick, puts him on the turnbuckle, top rope Hurricane Rana, 1-2, Orton kicks out. So Bryan grabs the Singapore cane, he nails him in the shoulder. And then he yes kicks, cane shot, yes kick, cane shot, yes kick, back and forth, and then finally, the buzzsaw kick connects 1-2, and Orton kicks out. So he goes up top, he gets crotched, he grabs Bryan, he headbutts him, climbs up, and he goes for the Orton Crest superplex, and he hits it. 1-2, and Bryan kicks out. Tosses him to the ring apron, hits the snakebite DDT, and Bryan is down and out right now. Orton starts pounding the mat like an idiot, and Bryan goes to the floor to break up momentum. Grabs the Singapore cane. Orton goes out, and he gets hit with a cane right in the head. Cane shot to the upper body, and he does the running drop kick, nails him into the Justin Roberts land over in the Timekeepers area, over the barricade. Bryan goes to pick up Orton. Orton slams him face first over the side of the barricade. And Orton grabs a steel chair, nails Bryan in the ribs, and then a shot to the lower back, tosses him back in. Batista runs in and body checks him because, you know what, with Roman Reigns in the company, it's not a spear. He body checks them. Bryan drop kicks Batista out of the ring, makes a cover 1-2-3, and pins the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Bryan celebrates, and after the match is over, Mr. Skinny Jeans hits the Batista bomb on Randy Orton and leaves him laying. So, yeah. And, of course, after the match, Big Dave delivers one of the lines of the night, "I never quit anything in my life." MMA. Now, yeah, Bryan and Orton, great chemistry. I always love these two against each other. They're really good. They're really good matches. I mean, a lot of people are like, "I'm burnt out on this." No, it's good. It's really good. Keep it coming. And it guarantees that we're not going to get Batista and Randy Orton one-on-one at WrestleMania, regardless if it's Triple H, whether it's Dana Bryan. I'll talk about that as we get on to the rest of the show. So, Paul Heyman comes out to deliver a message, because he, of course, is talking on behalf of his charge, the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar. Brock has victimized and conquered The Undertaker's last WrestleMania opponents. It's true. Death himself is slowly dying. He now falls victim to the hands of time. As he struggles with his own immortality, on the grand stage, a beast has emerged. At WrestleMania, he shall conquer death himself. This is an awesome video package that Paul Heyman puts together about The Undertaker, and the streak has taken so much out of him. It's been a constant, a guarantee that WrestleMania equals The Undertaker's streak. But just barely has The Undertaker been getting past Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And Brock Lesnar destroyed both Triple H and Shawn Michaels rather effortlessly. And that's what this video package, that's very well done, mind you, is proving right here. The Undertaker and his streak at WrestleMania 30 will rest in peace. So Heyman, of course, as Jim Ross would say, and I'm sure Will would agree with, he's writing a check that his ass can't cash. And that's a shoot. So, obviously we know that Taker's going to win at WrestleMania, and deservingly so, but you really have that hinge of, what if? It's like, this minute, like, it's probably less than a grain of salt. A tiny grain of salt. But yeah, and I'm not even talking sea salt, I'm talking like legitimate salt, like table salt, so yeah. Obviously, Lesnar's not winning, but it's interesting because people that don't know any better may think that he may have the upper hand here, and they're like, wait a minute, Brock Lesnar has destroyed Triple H and Shawn Michaels. The Undertaker passed out. He had to be carried out last time. I wonder Yeah, a really great promo from Paul Heyman. And apparently, tonight on the main event, you're going to see The Undertaker come out on main event, and he is going to have some words to say. So they really want to push this main event, since it's now live on the WWE Network before the SmackDown tapings. I mean, last week, you had the Usos defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against Los Matadores, and you also had AJ Lee defending the Divas Championship against Natalya. I mean, these were some good matches. I mean, check those out if you get a chance to. And I definitely want to see this. It'll be interesting to see what happens with The Undertaker on main event this week. So we get our next match, and oh god, this is a cluster. It's Fandango against Goldust. And yeah, we'll go to the end of the match. Summer Rae gets on the ring apron. I love Summer Rae. Everyone knows that. Watch her on Total Divas. She's going to be an awesome heel this season. So, Goldust basically does his bite and scares Summer, and Summer falls into the arms of Cody Rhodes. And Fandango's distracted, but nails a short-arm clothesline on Goldust. Cody puts her down finally. High-velocity whip into the buckle, and what it looked like is this just started the downfall of this match. The high-velocity whip didn't look like it was planned, if you will. So when he hit the buckle, he had a whiplash effect. And it looked like he was kind of out of it ever since that. So basically, Goldust gets caught in the cravat. He elbows his way out. He chokes him on the middle rope. And a knee drop, which probably didn't help his discombobulation either way. The cravat, he gets tossed off, 3 big right hands, whip in reverse, and makes a cover this time. He hits the buckle yet again. So, obviously this isn't doing him any good at this point. Chinlock, Goldust finally punches his way out, whip in, charges in, gets the boot up, and the middle rope Rana, dear God, that looked bad. He leapt off the top, and it just didn't work. And he hit the back of his head on the canvas. You could definitely tell when Fandango tried to cut the flip, he landed on his head. So both could probably be blamed for this. So, in a move that should have been Goldust high spot, Fandango goes for a cover. Because Goldust is literally down. The referee's checking over him at this point. Like, he legitimately just rung his own bell. So, it looks like Fandango was going for the Falcon Arrow. But I could be wrong. I guess you would say he's going for a suplex. And it looked like he was trying to block it. That's what they sold it as. But it looked like he couldn't get Goldust up for it. And he snaps suplexes him over, which looked awkward. He goes up top, goes for the perfect 10. Goldust rolls out of the way. And he nails the final cut, but he didn't look like he couldn't get it, really. And he pins him, and after the match is over, I wrote in big letters, Goldust legit pissed. And Goldust, and I can't say throws a temper tantrum. You could just see the anger in his eyes. And then Cody just calmed down. It's like, dude, we're on live TV, just calm down. So, the match it just did not work. This match was not good at all. I don't know if these two will work again for a while. This may not be a good thing for either one. And, I don't know. Maybe they'll put Goldust and Cody in the Battle Royal, and a receipt will be given out. That's probably what I'm thinking will happen, to be totally honest. Or Fandango will face Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, and a receipt will be given out. So, either way, I think Fandango gets a receipt for this. The issue was the whip. All the work on the back of the head, and you could definitely tell that Goldust was hurting, and he was hurting after the match was over. He was just pissed off. He was busted open. His eyebrow was busted up. He had some blood coming from his forehead and from his eyebrow. Is what it looked like, at least. Like they had a collision at one point in the match. And, yeah, just didn't do any favors. That botched run off the middle rope, and then the botched suplex, and then the botched final cut. I mean, I think Goldust wasn't able to do anything with Fandango because of the fact that he just was so out of it after hitting his head on the canvas like he did. So, yeah. The run off the middle rope is normally a spot to get a near fall for Goldust, and this time it was basically just hit the back of his head on the canvas, and it just all went to hell. So, here's an interesting segment. Kane comes out. He says Daniel Bryan couldn't have done everything by himself. He had an accomplice, and the accomplice was from Memphis, Tennessee, and obviously he knew the right things to say to the right people to make this happen. So he basically said that Jerry the King Lawler had to be held accountable for this. So the Shield music hits. Ambrose basically tells Lawler to get in the ring. Kane says, I'm not going to enjoy this. Well, maybe a little. I mean, he was the person that put the Christmas creature gear on him back in the day. So, who knows? I can understand that from that perspective. See, I get a good feeling Daniel Bryan isn't coming to save you, because the Shield always does what's best for business. This is Seth Rollins talking. They turn and they face Kane. They jump Kane, and Kane gets caught with a leaping kick. Reigns spears him, and they triple powerbomb Kane to a very mixed reaction from the crowd. They don't seem to know what to do about this. This is obviously a babyface storyline for the Shield now, officially. I mean, it's been unofficial for quite a while, but this is an official exclamation point on the babyface turn of the Shield, which is something I wasn't sure they were going to do, but they actually look like they're going to stick with, unless it's a red herring to make Ambrose turning down the road a bigger deal, which is always a possibility. So yeah, it's really awesome to see the Shield united, beating up people again, and of course, we should have thought about this, because on SmackDown, they did this to Damien Sandow. I hadn't even talked about that yet, but I'll talk about that tomorrow. He did that to Damien Sandow. They do it to Kane. So obviously, repercussions will be coming for the Shield in the very near future. I don't know who's going to be able to do it at this point. So you set up a couple options here. You set up the Shield in a 6-man tag against Kane and 2 partners. There's 2 potential tag teams that could team up with Kane. Number 1 is the New Age Outlaws. If they're not going to go to face the Usos at WrestleMania, I think this could be a spot for them. But I think the better and more together alliance would be with Victor and Connor, the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Ascension, as called by Justin LaBar on Wrestling Reality this week. I would say that this is probably going to happen. I think it's going to be the Shield against Kane and the Ascension, and I think the Ascension jump the Shield not this week on SmackDown, but maybe next week on Raw. Like, next week on Raw, maybe the Ascension show up, and they just, no one knows who they are. Well, obviously the crowd doesn't know who they are. And they jump the Shield after the Shield beat a heel team. You have Connor and Victor hit the ring, and they're basically the disciples of Kane. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea to do. The thing is, the Citizen Kane, as they have deemed him on 4-in-1 Mania, does not really fit with the Ascension, but the Outlaws do. So either of those tag teams could definitely work for the 6-man tag match that will be inserted into WrestleMania, guaranteed at this point. So we get the Funkadactyls in tag team action. Cameron, of course, teaming with the returning Naomi, who's sporting a bling-bling in her eye patch, caused by the fact that Oksana doesn't know how to drop a knee, and that's why she's not on Raw anymore, folks. But accidents do happen. I know. I've potatoed people before. They've given me receipts for it. Everything's cool. I know how this works. So, and the knee, of course, they've already used it on clips for Total Divas, so it'll be talked about for sure. Well, the Funkadactyls are in tag team action against the Divas champion, AJ Lee, who can't buy a win to save her life right now, and Tamina Snuka. And for those of you that obviously throw out the fact that, oh, Abyss is now not wearing a mask, and he's wearing corporate gear, so obviously he's their Kane, and Magnus is a paper champion, which Batista called Randy Orton a paper champion this week. And, yeah, Gail Kim and Lady Tapa, they're doing the same thing that AJ and Tamina are doing. Well, Gail and Tapa just split, so AJ and Tamina had to split. Who's copying who now? So, AJ locks on a rear naked choke. Cameron punches her way out somehow. Tags into Tamina, and a scoop slam 1-2 and a kick out. Firewoman's carry turned into a sunset flip and a drop kick. Oh, God. Double tag. Thank God get Cameron out of that ring. Ducks the kick from AJ. 2 drop kicks and a one of the most awesome moves that I've seen in a long time. It was a split-legged full Nelson bomb on AJ, and yeah, I'm gonna throw a shout out to Jim Quigley from ECW days, who used to do the pictures that always get the ladies of ECW in compromising positions. Yeah, there was someone that took a picture right at that very moment, and I thank you, good sir, madam out there, for doing that. It was awesome. So yeah, that move looked awesome, and it also looked awesome. So yeah, Sir Owen Disney is still a man, and yeah, the move looked phenomenal. Obviously, she was counting on her flexibility to make it look better, and it was great. So Tamina makes a save before the 3 counts completed, tosses Cameron to the floor, Naomi with a drop kick, and AJ with a satellite into the guillotine choke. It gets countered into a power slam, and Naomi hits a split-legged moonsault, 1, 2, and 3. So AJ can't buy a win, which bodes really well for her retaining at WrestleMania. That's sarcasm. AJ berates Tamina after the match is over, and Tamina shoves her to the ground. AJ's left looking dumbfounded, and yeah, that's pretty much what we've got out of that. So we get our next induction into the Hall of Fame. I haven't talked about it yet, but Carlos Colon actually got inducted on SmackDown. I'll talk about that on a little bit tomorrow, but the newest inductee of the WWE Hall of Fame that was announced on Raw tonight was somebody that was broken on TMZ, because TMZ apparently is wrestling news headquarters now. Mr. T has been inducted in the Hall of Fame, so there is one name remaining. And let me tell you something, Chico. I guarantee you that's going to be me. Let me just say, there might as well be a survey to determine who is going to be the next inductee. And you can guarantee, no doubt, that this man will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Either, I would say this week, coming week on Raw, next week on Raw, I think that they'll induct the final member of the 2014 class, which is phenomenal, by the way. I mean, this is going to be aired live on the WWE Network, and it's going to be great to watch because there's a lot of really combustible elements and a live microphone, so that's going to be excellent. Obviously, you have the Ultimate Warrior, you have Jake the Snake Roberts, you have Lita, you have Paul Bearer, you have Carlos Colon, and now you have Mr. T. I mean, this is awesome. I'm really enjoying this list, and to add the final name to the list as the bad guy, Scott Hall, to be the final inductee in the 2014 WWE Hall of Fame, to be inducted by probably Sean Waltman and Kevin Nash, if I had to guess. So, after this, we got our What the Hell match of the evening, and that would be a 8-man tag between members of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. This match involved The Big Show, the Intercontinental Champion Big E, Dolph Ziggler, and Mark Henry taking on the newly haircutted Damien Sandow, Alberto Del Rio, and the Nexus Relocation Program, Ryback and Curtis Axel. Match wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. It was a cluster, but it was okay for what it was. For an 8-man tag, you could do worse. Del Rio covers Dolph, 1-2 and a kick out, and this was right after commercial break, tagging a Sandow, headbutt, tagging a Ryback. Vertical suplex gets countered to an inside cradle, 1-2 and a kick out. Makes another cover, 1-2 and a kick out. Tagging to Axel, he drops the elbow and tosses him to the ropes. Standing dropkick on Dolph, and he ducks the right hand, catches Axel with the exclamation point DDT. Tagging to Sandow, he gets in the ring, front face lock on Dolph, and Dolph's playing Ricky Morton here. So leaping knee drop, 1-2 and a kick out. Chin lock, punches his way out. Headbutt, 3 knee strikes, and ducks the right hand. Drop kick is countered into a slingshot into the corner. He misses the charge, tagging to the Big Show. Clothesline, whip in, high back body drop on Damien Sandow. He charges in with the avalanche in the corner, this time with the butt avalanche in the corner, like the running butt bump, but not from the seated position. It's from the corner position, like Andre used to do it, basically. And he gets a charging shoulder block off the ropes. Overhand chop on Curtis Axel when he gets in the ring. Ryback with a meat hook clothesline on Big Show. Big E clotheslines Ryback over the top rope to the floor. Del Rio hits Big E with a step-up enziguri kick. Del Rio gets planted with a name dropper, 1-2, and tosses Del Rio over the top. And Dolph gets tossed, Kurt Hennig style, into the ring post. Sandow walks into the choke slam, 1, 2, 3. Messed up series of events, but that's how it ended. So, obviously, I'm not a fan of Mr. Marshall Mathers, but I will say that this fit. There was a really awesome video package about the John Cena-Bray Wyatt feud to Eminem's Legacy. And shout out to WWE for doing that. So, we get a match that I haven't talked about on SmackDown. This is a rematch from SmackDown. It is Bray Wyatt against Kofi Kingston. Whip in, and he charges in, does Bray, boots up from Kofi, and he charges in, he caught his upside-down back kick. Springboard, he ducks out of it, and he nails him with the Fall of Humanity, the mounted forearms, and he has a backdrop suplex, and he holds him in a cradle, and he drops him into a chin breaker. It looks awesome, by the way. Hits the avalanche in the corner, Sister Abigail, Kofi takes it right on his head, Van Damme style. That's all she wrote. Bray wins. So apparently that was your main event. Because the last segment is a talking segment, of course. Triple H comes out, calls Daniel Bryan out to get some things off his chest, man to man. Face to face, Daniel Bryan comes out. Triple H says, everything I've done to you was for the greater good. It was best for business. This wasn't personal, ever. A lot of things have happened last week. You crossed the line. A line you could never come back from. Truth is, what matters most is that we're in this moment. Like it was supposed to happen all along. Wink, wink, WWE Universe. And we're going to fight. I won't apologize, nor should you. When it's all said and done, I have no choice but to put an end to all of this. I have no choice. If I have to, there's not going to be any apologies. It's simply best for business. No hard feelings. May the best man win. He extends his hand. Bryan says no. It's like, you know what? That's fine. I wouldn't do it if I was you either. But you know what? I've dumped everything on you. I put roadblock upon roadblock in your path. And each and every time you battle back, and you're still standing here. They respect you. Anybody else would have folded under the pressure, took their ball, and went home. That was a shout out to Chicago right there. You have earned my respect. Stephanie comes out, pissed off. She's pressing charges. Officers arrest him. So Indie Worker Security comes out, and they subdue Bryan, use excessive force with nightsticks to the back of his neck, and they handcuff Bryan's hands behind his back. So he's at nightstick point at this point. Triple H says, enough, let him go, back off. You know what? You're not even real cops anyway. So Indie Worker Security leaves. I'm looking forward to doing this myself. Triple H takes off his jacket, looking more and more like Bobby Roode than usual, and he stomps Bryan. He sends him into the steps, and then Bryan tries to headbutt his way out, but he gets tossed into the apron. He slams him on the table, he tosses him into the barricade, does a front suplex on the announce table. Triple H mocks Bryan with the yes chants. Stephanie slaps him twice. Bryan yells, "You hit like a girl," and Stephanie slaps him again and starts slapping away. They dump Bryan in the ring, slams him head first into the ring post. His head is against the ring post, like it's laying against the side of the ring post. Triple H grabs a steel chair and bam, nails him right in the top of the head with it. So Bryan is done at this point. Stephanie says, "That's what you get, Daniel." Pedigrees him. Lays him out in the center of the ring. This ring, all of this, it all belongs to us. There is no yes movement. Show ends on that. On the second screen experience and the backstage pass for the post-show overall, you see Bryan get stretchered out. He's got the collar around his neck, and he is stretchered out of the building. That's how he went home. And it was interesting to see how that happened, actually. So, we've come to a crossroads here. Triple H beat the living daylights out of Daniel Bryan here. And it was the right thing to do, honestly. And, you know, I think that Bryan is going to battle the odds. There's a couple options. Number one, there's the one option everybody wants. Bryan beats Triple H, regardless if it's pinfall, submission, or another means, which it'll be pinfall or submission at this point. And Bryan goes on to win the WWE Championship. 2, Bryan and Triple H go to a no contest, or things get involved, or Triple H wins via nefarious means. And I would think that the second option is Bryan and Triple H are both inserted into the main event one way or another. The other option, which I'm thinking the way that happens is if they're both inserted in the match, there's another option to go. Triple H beats Bryan. Triple H beats Bryan with nefarious means. Hulk Hogan is the host of WrestleMania, so that means he can reverse things, and he can put people in matches. So Hulk Hogan officially says, you know what, we're going to... Daniel Bryan got screwed, he's not going to get screwed, he's not here tonight, not New Orleans, we're not going to do it this way, so Daniel Bryan's inserted in the main event. So, either way, I think that you're going to have Daniel Bryan. Obviously, he's going to overcome the adversity of Evolution at WrestleMania, and that's the right direction to go. So, yeah, I think even if Triple H would somehow find a way to win, I still think Bryan gets inserted into the main event. And I still think we leave New Orleans with thousands upon thousands of fans in the building chanting yes, and that's our visual with Daniel Bryan celebrating finally with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And no, he's not losing it the next night on Raw. He's going to have the title for a long, long time, because obviously that's been the game plan since day one. So, we got a lot of things coming. We have 3 weeks to WrestleMania, so I'm looking forward to that. Really looking forward to this. Watching the WWE Network like crazy. A lot of WCW when I have some time. And if you want to talk about things you need to check out, obviously the Triple H promo with Batista and Randy Orton from the opening of the show. If you want, check that out. I would say the Real Americans and the Usos was good. It was worth watching. Check that out. The video package that Paul Heyman put together about Brock Lesnar, excellent. Check it out. If you want to watch Fandango and Goldust again and try to figure out what went wrong as well, give your opinions on that, watch it again if you'd like. The Shield destroying Kane, that's fine. Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, no disqualification, check that out. Bray Wyatt's promo, and check that out. So yeah, and the closing promo, and the brutal dissection of Daniel Bryan, I checked that out as well. So yeah, that was good. So that was Raw this week, and we were going to be talking NXT and SmackDown tomorrow, and then, of course, on Thursday, we're going to do a little TNA Impact from last week. Friday will be AJ's movie reviews. We've got 5 this week. So, yeah, we've got Muppets Most Wanted, Divergent, and God's Not Dead, which we'll see how well that goes considering what we had last week. And we're going to be talking about Cheap Thrills and Veronica Mars. So all those will be talked about come Friday. Saturday, well, to be announced at this point, and Sunday we got a brand new Versus, which is going to commemorate a release of one of the brand new movies from this week, so check that out. And Halloween Horror Nights fans, obviously, will continue talking about Malcolm and Teen Spirit and whatever comes our way, courtesy of John Murdy and Mike Aiello in the next coming weeks, as we get towards April 1st, which will be Dr. Jimmy's yearly video about everything that's going to happen Halloween Horror Nights this year. So, that being said, in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. If you'd like to like our Facebook fan page, it is Sir Owen Disney Pop. If you'd like to go old school on Facebook, be my friend, it's Owen Disney. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. And last but certainly not least, who wants to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions, ideas you have for WrestleMania, things you would like to talk about wrestling-wise. We'll talk about my wrestling career, or my career as a manager or a ring announcer. You can ask me any question you'd like, and you can do that by sending me an email at sirowendisney@gmail.com. So, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.